G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Bonsai Works. I wasn't going to do any more pine decandling videos this season. However, this is a Radiata Pine, one of my favourite trees in my collection. Had it for over 20 years now. Now, I want to show you the health of this tree. It's extremely healthy this year. I fed it heavily in spring. I think that's really helped it a lot. And it's actually looking very lush and happy and healthy. Unfortunately, got to get rid of all this growth. So I've got to decandle this Radiata Pine. Also at this time of year, you can actually needle pluck to balance out the growth in certain areas. So that's the other thing I'm going to do. The top is very heavy compared to the bottom. So I'm going to do some needle plucking in the top, balance out the growth with the lower needles in the lower branches. Obviously, decandling this will take a long time, so I'm not going to video the whole process. You obviously know what decandling is. Come in and always start at the top. Go look for the new candle. Cut it off. Cut it off at the base. Usually there's needles. There should be needles underneath it, and you just do that throughout the tree. Takes a long time. I cut all the candles, even the small ones, especially at the top. I cut everything. So go in and just go through it. And it's a pretty quick. It's quick in the terms of you don't have to think too much. You just cut off the candles. But it's a long process because there's a lot of it. So the tree will look so different after I'm done. But I'll also want to rearrange branches. It's a good time of the year to do that as well. So there's lots of things to do at this time of year. So pines I work on pretty much twice a year. That's in summer when I decandle, and in autumn when I bud select back to 2. So, and needle pluck. So there's really 2 times a year to work on them, and this is the time to work on them in Melbourne here in summer. It's mid-December, almost Christmas time, so probably a little bit late. I should have maybe done this a little bit earlier on the Radiata, but it shouldn't be any problem. And the healthiness of the tree dictates if I decandle the tree. So I hope that all makes sense. So I'm going to go away and decandle the whole tree, and we'll have a look what it looks like afterwards. All right, so here's how the tree looks after decandling. Now I've also actually needle plucked quite a bit of it. Now you probably just can notice, if it's hard to notice because it's such a big tree, I needle plucked a lot more in the top, and I left a lot more needles at the bottom. Now, just in nature generally, the lowest branches are always going to weaken where if the top keeps growing heavily. Now the top grows very strongly, heavily, and I've got so much buds and so much growth and so many candles. And down here, it's not as strong, not as vigorous as the top. So by leaving more needles, I'm telling the roots to feed this area more. So I should get lots of good, healthy, strong buds here by autumn. That's how pines, I guess, work. The roots feed the tree. The roots are the strength, so they feed what needs to be fed. Now, if you've got more needles down in the lower half, it should feed the lower half more than the top half. This will explode anyway because they get all the sun, etc. But that's how the roots work on these pines. Now, one thing I didn't mention is I treat Radiata pine the same as black pine, Japanese black pine. Just that's my experience with them. I can decandle and I can decandle and bud select all work. So I'll get multiple buds in the one spot where I cut by autumn, and I'll pluck back to 2. So this tree it looks a bit sparse at the moment from what it was before, but I tell you, it will come back really well. It's been fed really well, so I can see already quite the difference in the tree. Probably the last time I repotted was like 15 years ago. I never repotted, and it does really well. Probably if I did repot it, it'd probably explode again with huge needles. Now, Radiata needles are massive, so this is getting quite good, quite much more smaller if you go through this process. So that's what I'm doing now. Now, I have had a look. I need to actually position a lot of branches again. Now, all the main branches have been wide a long time ago, and they've been set. I'm not really going to tweak them, but I have noticed now a lot of the wide that I probably put on 5 years ago now is starting to cut in. That's how slow. When trees get this older, they won't grow as fast as a young tree. So it's really nice and slow growing in a sense in terms of fattening up branches. So I'm going to have to go through and take out all the old wire that's cutting in, and then just reposition all of the branching. In the top, it's pretty good in terms of white placement, branch placement, etc. In the lower half, it's starting to really cut in, and I need to fix up the pads a bit more. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll see if there's any subtle differences in the next video. Okay, I've only done some minor tweaks in the tree, especially just flattening out, getting nice low pads in this area. All right, that's all right. Just keep an eye on it, that's all. And just get him to walk on the grass a bit if you can, on the footpath, like, the nature do. Yeah. Do you need to lock up, or are you okay? Tyson? Oh. Lock. Door. Okay, so I've only really cleaned up a lot of the lines underneath on these branches. Rewiring, pretty much did no actual wiring, but I put a guy wires on now. I'll show you the reason why I mainly guy wire now these trees, especially if the main branches have started to come up a little bit. I guy wire them back down now. I'll come in and show you why I'm doing that. I'll give you a nice close-up. Can you see the branches, how they've really nicely flaked up? Now, I would never put wire on those branches again. Like, you just can't do it. So you can see that branch, for example. I'll just try and get in here. See if I can get in here. Where are some other areas? I can't get the camera in there. No, I can't get the camera in there. But it's really, the bark is really flaky. That's a good spot to see it. And you can see that the trunk how flaked up it is. Now you can see these branches all flaky and old. Now if I put wire on them, just destroy the bark. Now I've used guy wires. You can see those little thin wires pulling branches down. That I need to pull branches down in this area. I found that they were getting boosted back up, so I've actually repositioned those with some guy wire. And the tree's looking really nice. Just slight adjustments, and it should come up really well again this year. I thinned out also some heavy bits in here that weren't very good. I want to have nice fine growth in the apex, so every time something gets really heavy, I cut it out, and it will just be replaced by thinner foliage, and it'll be nice and easy to maintain. There seems to be a little bit more rounder. I'd like to get a bit more rounder, but it is what it is at the moment. This looks quite nicely done. That's really mainly it. Protecting the bark. I would never wire the branches again for that reason. Only the outside branches get wire now, and just keep an eye on it. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video on my Radiata Pine, and hopefully see you again in the near future.